A warm welcome to you from our headquarters in Lagos, Nigeria. This is Enterprise Morning on Enterprise TV. I am Henry Igwebike. In a bit, we'll be going to our newspaper headlines to see what they have for us this morning. And right after that will be in conversation also for today. So I will do all of this for you and just for you. Please do well to visit our website at www.enterprisetvnews.com and also like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. With me in the studios today to do justice to what we have on our newspaper headlines, it's Mr. Cyril Abaku. He is a public affairs analyst and also a broadcaster. Welcome, Mr. Cyril.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Thank you, Henry.
All right, so quickly let's go to our newspaper headlines. For today, we're starting off with the Vanguard newspaper. And the big story there says uncertainty rules the currency markets as external reserves rise. The rider there says the volume of dollars traded down to 3% to $2.14 billion, while sudden massive crash of Naira is coming from analysts. And also warn of further depreciation, adverse impact on economy. And the top strip of the same newspaper, we have blackout, power grid collapse again, first in 2024. Brain drain, over 500 workers left National Hospital in 2 years. This is coming from the CMD. And also 723 schools closed in 9 states in Nigeria over insecurity and others, and that information is coming from UNICEF. On the bottom slip of the same newspaper, we have presidency. Atiku fights over Tinubu's economic policies, and also 8,100 Naira levy. Students in Lagos schools may miss WAEC registration. Mr. Cyril,
can I jump on the banner headline that says uncertainty rules currency market?
All right, let's start.
You see, I think up to this point, it may be safe to now come to the conclusion that this is what the federal government really intends to leave things.
How do you mean?
That this is the way they intend to leave things, that this is the best they can do, that this is their plan, really. That this is that what's happening is not unintentional. It's not as if they were hitting for the moon and landed on a skyscraper. I think this skyscraper was actually their destination. It is difficult to explain it. It is difficult to even imagine it. But they leave me with no other conclusion than for me to come to say that I think this was, there is a way a human being would behave when he is not where he yet wants to be. And he does everything at it. He is desperate to get past where he is. Mm-hmm. But I don't see the federal government putting in any desperation, any desperate effort to move us past where we are. There's no desperate move. There's no emergency action. There's nothing to really show that government is not happy with where we are and that they want to move.
So what you're saying is the government is clueless?
Well, again, clueless means you want to get it right, but you don't know how to get it right? But I think this is a clue, really, that this is the most, this is the best, this is what they can do.
Okay. Is it that it's their intention to get us into this economic downturn, and because it's their intention, they have achieved it, and that is the best they can do? Or is it because they weren't sure that they were going to get us to this economic downturn, and they saw themselves in it, and therefore cannot solve the problem? So
I think it aggregates a little more to the second question.
Okay.
To the second question, although it is debatable to actually even try to inquire as to whether the president or the presidency or the campaign team back then during the campaigns really made any significant executable pledges to Nigerians. But for where we are today, I cannot imagine that there was no forward thinking, or there was no projection as to what will happen if we did what. So, for example, the president speaks as the mouthpiece of his economic team. All right, he is the face of his policy makers. He takes responsibility for what they advise him to do. But essentially, he only comes to voice what has been agreed behind. When you win the presidency of the country, automatically you begin to formulate policies, you begin to plan what you want to do. All right? The president came on board and said, in fact, it was like going off script to emphasize what he had thought was the best course of action. I want to think that before he came to say subsidy was gone, he and his team had sat back to properly to agree at the very least
that was the best thing.
Yes.
And at that point, it is important that he makes that known to Nigerians.
Now,
or was it?
No, of course, no. This is what it's that, just that. And then the question is the president or presidency going to say now that they didn't foresee the consequence of taking subsidy away? Because there is nobody at the presidency saying there's a new bill to government. Wale Edo, Yemi Kadoso, Zacchaeus Adedeji, all of them, Delalaki, all of them. They are not newbies. They are not wannabes in government.
So if they are not newbies in the government and they knew the aftershock of their
not only, again, you floated, so we took off the subsidy. Some months or weeks later, the Naira was floated. You would have seen where the taking off of subsidy was heading. And that will teach us a lesson whether to now proceed with the Naira or not. The Naira was also floated. There is nothing wrong with government moving in one direction, and after realizing that this wasn't going to yield any result, walk its way back to another direction. There's nothing wrong with it.
But don't you think that this is a single case or a simple case of absolutism?
When you are calling it a name, you've called it you put it in an ism, which means you're not talking ideology. What I'm saying is that this is what this government has to offer, and they're offering it willy-nilly. All the debate about did they see it better, could they have known better, is all secondary, but this, where we are, is what we bargain for.
Because the reason I'm actually talking about absolutism is when a leader wields power to himself and himself alone and takes credit for everything. If we juxtapose that with what happened in the United States of America with Donald Trump, it's equally the same thing. His team would plan this is what they're supposed to do. Maybe it's futuristic. He comes up and he says it abruptly. Don't you think that is what is happening today in Nigeria with Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
Well, in the case of the American president, we know, because America runs a largely transparent form of government, system of government or government setup. In Nigeria, I'm not aware who told the president what and whether he now chose to do what he wanted to do. You know what I mean? So we can't say, we can't tell. What I do know is that last year at the NBA conference, the president said, I will listen. I will listen. I, for one, I think that our president has a way of sometimes just doing what he feels like doing, what he wants to do. Because I want to believe that when he came to office, if he had been minded to consult a bit more broadly, maybe there would have been a change of course of action. But there wasn't. He just went ahead and said, subsidy is gone. Now, even if it was absolutism, Henry,
yes,
we voted a president who thrives on absolutism. Do you sincerely think now that he will give us what he does not have? So that's where we are. But this, what we have, this right here, is what it is.
All right. So let's move to the fracas between Atiku.
Sorry,
yes.
there's another headline you took before we go to the other.
Which of
the national grid collapsing.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, blackout, power grid collapses again, first in 2024.
There are about 12 markers for determining insanity. Okay, for determining mental unwellness. Two of them are one. When an individual wakes up in the morning, no plan, no program, just packs his bag and starts working. Where are you going to? No answer. What are you going to do? No answer. When are you likely to come back? You see, because there's no determination of where you're going and what you're going to do. It is even difficult to say where you're coming because those two questions should have been the basis for asking more questions. So where are you going? Where you're going? No response. The other definition of insanity, number two definition of insanity is when you continue to do what you keep on doing and yet you're expecting a different outcome. You see, Henry, there is no success that should come when you've not planned for it, when you've not worked for it, when you've not invested for it, when you've not made room for. You must be able to control your success from the beginning to the end. You must be in charge of the process.
So there's no room for fluke.
No, there should be that. If miracles happen, they happened. But you don't wake up planning breakfast of miracles. It doesn't happen like that.
It's actually not realistic.
It is irrational and not realistic. This national grid cannot. You see, I always saw somebody who was breaking news. National grid collapsed for the first time this year, and I'm like, so I should jump at it. That for the first time, this is the first time this year is collapsing, which means the whole of January didn't collapse. We should be thankful to God. We ought to know that the monopoly government has placed on power will not give us any good outcome. You see, even if that monopoly was giving us a good outcome, there was time when the Nigerian economy was not strong enough to have private investors that could be part of the process. Maybe that was 1960, 1980, 1990. Now there are. You must open it up. Let me be able to explain this better. The way you are doing something that was giving success 5 years ago can't be the same way you keep on doing to get success this year. Things change. The environments keep on changing. So you must be at the head of the curve. I don't believe this. So the national grid collapse. Now, by this morning, the TCN is saying that they have fixed the national grid. That what is remaining is for gas to be supplied. Can I tell you something? Somebody ought to write an article called "As if we are no engineers." As if there are no engineers. Because how can a nation of some of the most brilliant electrical engineers in Africa be suffering? And so those who keep repairing the broken grid, can't they give better grids? Can't they give us a better solution? Can't we open up the grid in a way that independent investors can come in and also use that same ecosystem and like we do with telecoms? Okay? To know you can have a Tesla, you can have all kinds of things, and it's not just that. You can even have people who are just ISPs, and that's all you do.
Exactly.
Why do we have only Ibadan Disco, Echo Disco, Ikeja Disco, Kaduna Disco, Abuja Disco, Benin Disco? Like we are doing state creation by the military. You should be able to be in Port Harcourt or Aba and use a disco that is anywhere in the country. Just subscribe. This one, once you are in a geographical area, you are limited to it. The problem with power sector is not all this is corrupt. People need to be people need to be arrested, charged, prosecuted, and be charged with the full weight of the law. Why is it that you can go to somebody? Is it because the private investors in telecoms are more interested in efficiency? You can even call somebody, and the person can buy data or buy airtime for you. And you just receive an alert, you now have data or whatever, or what is it called, credit on your phone. Am I correct?
Yeah.
But for power, you must go and buy, print the receipt, then go to your prepaid meter and start punching.
And hope there's network at the time you are punching it.
Why can't you simply subscribe and just pay the money and the just goes in? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
The way you can transfer money on your phone, and the thing is done. So all of these things this is purely man-made. It's by choice. We are here by choice. So this grid collapsing and being fixed is choice.
And possibly somebody is profiting from it.
Do other motives make choices? It's choice. The question is, what is the choice for? And then that's when you now that will answer the question of not somebody is the people who are doing it. There's no doubt about it. It's choice.
Okay, so let's look at the fracas between Atiku, the former vice president, and Bola Ahmed Tinubu over economic policy. And we have it here on the right of that particular story. Tinubu's economic policy dashing hope, and that's coming from Atiku, ex-vice president, offering uninformed intervention on economy, and that's coming from a counter from the president. So what do you think is happening here?
A counter from the presidency.
Yes.
Because the president is absent. right? The president is absent. So the question is the critique by Abubakar, former vice president of Nigeria, Henry, the former vice president's critique, is it based on evidence or not?
Must it be based on evidence, or is it?
In this extant case,
yes.
Is it based on evidence or not? My personal one is that because common Nigerians may not be able to have a voice. You know what I mean? A man like Atiku is not the one speaking, and the presidency is responding. But is the thing Atiku is saying backed by evidence or not?
Of course it is.
So what is the moral authority the presidency is mustering to counter him? What are they countering him for?
Don't you think they're still basking in the euphoria of election victory, and the opposition is coming to maybe...
The president is out of the country. The president himself is not even in the country. I heard the governor of Ekiti State thanking the president for giving directives. So the president in France on private visit is issuing directives to Nigerian police. The commander-in-chief, who is absent, he didn't hand over to his deputy. Which means the president has subscribed to the philosophy that the president can rule from anywhere. If that was the case, we could have gone to elect a Nigerian diaspora.
Yeah.
There are many of them. Some are in the House of, some are in Parliament in the UK, some are in the White House. We could have gone to say, you know what, let's hire a Nigerian in the diaspora who doesn't need to come to Nigeria. First meeting can be done via Zoom. All right? So let him just, and he can hire and fire his in fact, all of us can be anywhere in the world and still be Nigerians. All right? Henry, I don't think I have more to say about it.
I would have loved us to dig more deep on Vanguard because it has lots of interesting stories here. But I'd love us to leave it at that. But before going into the next day, I think it's still very important. Maybe you just peruse on this for just 30 seconds. Brain drain, over 500 workers left National Hospital in 2 years, and that's coming from the CMD. And this is happening at a time when those in authority are saying, maybe let's turn this into a business. Let's create medical experts and send them abroad so that they can be repatriating money into the country, coming from one of the governors. Tell me.
No. It couldn't be that. No, it couldn't be that. But I think, you see, how about the banking sector? We are one of Nigeria's arguably the leading bank in Nigeria. Arguably the leading bank in Nigeria has the WhatsApp group. People who are earning up to double-digit millions annually. There's a WhatsApp group for people who are for you know, sometimes we call it brain drain, sometimes it's jackpot. So there's a WhatsApp group of how to live. So you know, of course, bank staff earning big. Bank staff who are earning big. I'm not talking of tier 2, tier 3, but I'm talking of tier 1 banks that are at the top of the pile. I have staff WhatsApp group for managers, senior managers who are jackpotting from Nigeria. They have WhatsApp group. They will pray for themselves, contributing money, wishing each other well, hoping that, you know,
hoping you've succeeded. Where are you? Can you make connections for me to come over?
Yes, that kind of thing.
Really, very, very unfortunate.
So it is not, you see, the thing is we are losing critical manpower. And today there are many people who are saying, my plan, my goals are, once I'm done with school, once I'm done with school, the thing is, you can't build a patriotic populace that way. And Nigerians are better woken up to take back their country because the way this thing is going, one, they woke up and realized that nothing remains.
Very, very true.
So far, the national hospital, 500 people have, more than 500 are left in under 2 years. That's alarming because there are a lot of specialist areas where we have just a handful of people who are experts in those areas, and they are on the way
to better countries
because they are tired of the system. They are tired of it. When we saw, even the Saudis came here and we saw the lady say that the professor who did medicine about 15 years ago was also on the queue.
Exactly.
What does that tell you?
A specialist.
What does that tell you? And then the president of our country is in France to take treatment. when doctors in his own country are running because this whole thing is just no, it's not right.
Truly very unfortunate. Now let's move to the next daily, and this coming from the Guardian newspaper, and the big story there says duty increase, spot FX rate adoption through panic into the market. And we have some data here, some analysis of that particular story, which says the duty exchange rate since Tinubu's inauguration, 0% price change since May 29th to 235% increase, and that is really very alarming. We have it here. In May 29, 2023, it was at 422.3 per dollar. In June 24, it's really glaring, on what the big story is saying here. Well, but let's move to the next story. We have your police promoting the spy article tells Tinubu, and also we have abducted Ekiti state school children, teachers regain freedom, but driver killed 3 weeks after new heads of culture agency yet to take over. World Cancer Day, high cost of care worsens epidemic, 78,899 death toll yearly. Mr. Cyril, let's talk about this issue. Of course, that was where we are coming from, the issue of healthcare in Nigeria. Today is World Cancer Day, and it's reported that this high cost of care is worsening in Nigeria, with so many people dying as a result of this. Just like you did say, our president is in France, taking good care of himself, but we have Nigerians in Nigeria dying of what I would say could be the same reason why the president himself went to France. What can you make out of this?
No, especially on World Cancer Day, these are sicknesses that really don't have, that have not found a cure. Who says Nigeria can only do research that can bring a cure for cancer? It's simply a matter of vision. 2 centuries ago, nobody would have believed that man can land in space. It happened. America did it. The Soviet Union pioneered it. So cancer is not bigger than man. Cancer is not an incurable ailment or disease. It can be dealt with, but Nigerians can't afford treatment
to manage theirs.
Yes, can't afford. And cancer, like you said, is even like a sickness for the rich. It's costly. You see, but even for basic malaria, typhoid, and things like that, the economy today in Nigeria has made medical care prohibitive. It's like saying it's prohibited because people can't access it. You've not eaten good food, you've not drunk good water, you've not paid rent. There's a lot you've not done. Okay? And so the little money you even have, how much are they paying their bill in Nigeria? Maybe 90,000, 80,000 naira. If you went to hospital to even collect the card alone, one prescription alone, so people just feel like going to the hospital is useless. And these are people who resort more to agbo and all of these herbal medicines. How can we make Nigeria in 2024 has not had universal coverage for health insurance? You see, people say, my brother in France or somebody in England had surgery free, they didn't even take money. It's because there's health insurance. People are paying money to that pool, and it's working. We need to have health coverage in Nigeria that covers market women, street traders, vendors, hawkers, mechanizers, people in the informal sector. They should be to pay a token, even if it's only naira per day. So that when people fall sick, they're not left to die. They can get qualitative medical care, while we're also making our primary health centers, viable. So that way, when people are sick, they don't have to rush to a teaching hospital. You can get quality care from a medical facility that is close to you. But all of these are out of the conversation. In Nigeria, people like I said last week, we are living in a country that feels like the war just ended. No, and everybody is beginning from ground zero. Whether you're a professor or you are a bus driver.
So, do you think it is safe to say that today's administration led by Bola Ahmed Tinubu is had brought in economic blockade, just like it's seen in Gaza, where there's economic blockade, no food is entering, no medicines are entering, people are dying, which is a crime against humanity. So can we metaphorically say that the current administration is committing crime against humanity because of their deliberate economic blockade, which is killing Nigerians as reported?
Well, I would like to look at it from the moral point of view and say that in a moral sense, the president cannot escape censure, cannot escape blame, cannot say that we should absolve him of any form of maybe not complicity, but responsibility for where we are. That would not be right. That would not be right. But I don't think. Well, again, if you want to say it is a crime against, that would look like it's premeditated.
Okay.
But there's a possibility that in fashioning out the policies that they fashioned out, maybe they didn't factor in the quantum of corruption that will attend it and bring us this down. But I think now that we are the presidency and Mr. President has a bounding duty to act urgently and to lift Nigerians out of these doldrums. It's too much for common people to bear. It's bad, and if we're not careful, it could laugh out our feet very soon, which is what we don't want in Nigeria right now.
Exactly. Very true. So let's go to the Daily Independent newspaper, which we have here with the big story. No FDIs months after subsidy removal, FX liberalization. And the writer says Nigerians' weak purchasing power can't attract FDIs, and that's coming from an analyst. On the downstream of the same newspaper, we have aviation stakeholders insist new grounds handling rates are justified. And also on the side of the same newspaper, we have minister raises committee to resolve gas supply challenge to Gencos. Mr. Surya, so let's look at the issue of foreign direct investment, which of course it's been said here is not coming into Nigeria because of Nigerians' weak purchasing power. And the truth of the matter is, why aren't Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is a progressive, just like he says, why is it difficult for him to realize that he cannot have a sustainable country when the purchasing power of Nigerians is weak with all the policies he keeps bringing now and then?
You see, the way we are going, this president may not be able to attract any FDI if he's not careful. Who will come? Purchasing power is low because the Naira is in a bad place. So who will come? They'd rather be here. If they're already here, they'd rather look for a way to take the money back in dollars. But even that one, the federal government is owing the airlines. The CBN has not remitted for profits accruing to the airlines. This economic matter is complicated. It is complex. It is not straightforward. It is not simple. But it may be difficult. But can it be done? Yes, it can. The economy can be untied.
How?
Can be unknotted.
Can you just give us like one or two?
Yes, so if our president today, I will go all out against the people who are killing farmers and villagers and wiping out towns. You clamp down on them.
Okay.
You go to the Niger Delta, clamp down on oil thieves. That way, farmers can go to farm and produce, so that if there are more crops in the market, the price can come down. All right, that's one. Imagine in Kaduna, terrorists are telling farmers, don't come to the farms until they pay us, otherwise you won't harvest. So, do you get what I mean now? All those people should be, you go after them and neutralize them. Clear them off the way. Let farmers go to farm, harvest their crops, okay? You go to the Niger Delta and say, oil theft must stop immediately. If they won't listen, there's no need to have a discussion. You sweep them out of the way, just sweep them out. Let's have, so that way, if we've cleared the country of insecurity first, people will even have confidence to be able to at least, the economy can breathe on a layer. Then you go after those who are holding dollars in their houses. Confiscate all those dollars.
How do you get that?
I won't be able to do it. Should I tell you how many, whether I will use the army or police or how we're going to do it? you go after those who have dollars in their houses, confiscate the dollars. That's an economic crime. You confiscate all those dollars. When you pump those dollars into the economy, all right. You see, this thing is going to take more than just what I'm saying. But this is, but it won't be, these are elements that must be part of it, okay, into the system, so that way, when there are enough dollars, with that, the dollar inflation will come down because now dollars are available. So you won't need up to 5,000 naira to buy $1 anymore. All right. So that once that has crashed a little bit, local production will start. You see, all these things that are telling us is not true. I can get, as president, I can get Port Harcourt to start working in 3 weeks. You heard me right? I can get Port Harcourt to start working in 3 weeks. The markets in Aba and Ochanja and Onitsha, what are they doing if not to produce? Are they there to, and they are producing actually. But what they produce, they have to send to Turkey to re-import in the name of made in Turkey. So we have to look at all these things. Everything that they say Nigeria should do, we're already doing it. Just that we lack government foresight and planning to make it, a playable thing. Then I mean we can begin from there. Who says it's not possible? We have leaders who are not willing to make things work. Otherwise, everything is possible.
All right, in 60 seconds, for the want of time, Minister raises committee to resolve gas supply challenge to Gencos.
He didn't need to do that. We are a country that has now Nigeria is in agreement that we can't punish bad behavior, and that anybody who has the might will have the right. What the minister has done is that he himself has admitted that the matter is beyond him. Okay, if the committee meets and brings recommendations, who will approve it? Who will sign up? Who is the final authority on the matter? Is the minister? Are there any first in the ministry? The issues about gas supply, are they new? They are not new. These are old matters, just taking up new forms. So if as minister does not have a solution to the matter, who then should have a solution? I don't think forming a committee is the answer, because forming a committee or no committee, it will not end. How about forming a committee to resolve national grid collapse every now and then, than forming a committee to resolve gas supply problems? We are not sincere in Nigeria. We are not sincere at all. I can assure you, we are not sincere.
All right, that's just about the time we have on our newspaper headlines today. I'd love to say thank you to Mr. Cyril Abaku for being part of our show today.
My pleasure.
Thank you so very much. So when we return, kidnapped Ekiti state peoples regain a freedom. That in a bit when we come back is still Enterprise Morning. Please don't go anywhere.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.